Welcome back, guys. Here with you on Birds 365, McMullen McDonald, and we get a third JAKIB family member involved in today's conversation. Always good to catch up with Jeff Kerr here with us on the Birds 365. All right, JK, since you are Mr. NFC East, I'm going there first. The Washington Commanders used the franchise tag on Darren Payne. The Dallas Cowboys used it on Tony Pollard. We got two NFC East teams left. We assume the Giants are going to use it today on either their quarterback and or their running back. And I'm clinging to the possibility that maybe Chauncey Gardner-Johnson gets the franchise tag from the Eagles. We got two already registered in. How many franchise tags are going to be given out in the NFC East?
I'll say 3 or 4. I still don't think the Eagles are going to use it because teams that know how to manage the salary cap just don't use the franchise tag. And I know the Eagles have a lot of guys that are free agents. I mean, really, if I wanted to use the franchise tag for anybody, I know CJ Gardner-Johnson would be the one, but truthfully, I'd use it on Javon Hargrave, if I'm being quite honest with you, because I think he's the player that they can't afford to lose. Now, that's way too much money, though. That's the thing. Howie Roseman's a lot smarter than me in that regard. But if you had to just pick a player, I think Javon Hargrave would be the guy. But I just don't see them using it. I think they're going to try to negotiate long-term deals with the free agents they won, and they'll do it.
With Javon, because we have a shift in obviously a defensive coordinator, we think we still are going to see the same sort of philosophy in the Fangio philosophy, Jeff. Is Javon Hargrave as good as the season he had? Do you want to pay him $18 to $20 million in that philosophy? I mean, he's a 3 technique. They don't play enough 3 technique. He's not a good run stopper. Is he a fit for this team? As strange as it sounds, coming off the year he had.
So it's weird because I thought he played in a way different style of defense when he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he did.
So I kind of liked how he transitioned over to Philly because when they signed Hargrave in 2020, I'm like, oh, that's interesting because he mostly played nose tackle. And then he comes over to Philly and he's learning a completely different system, played under 2 different coordinators in Jim Schwartz, in John McGannon, and seemed to do really well under Gannon the last 2 years. So I figure he'd be able to learn. I kind of like the stability, though, because if you don't bring Fletcher Cox back, you got Javon Hargrave working with the Jordan Davis, with the Milton Williams, a Marlon, I can never pronounce his last name. Tui Pelotu. That's the one name I don't think I'll ever get right. I got Ha'Paluti Vaitai all these years. I don't think I'll ever get that one. But besides the point there,
there's another one coming, his brother. So you got to get Tui Pelotu.
Yeah, he was at the combine. I'm like, I still don't know how to pronounce it. It's just one of those names. Anyway, I just like the fact with a guy that, well, Javon Hargrave now. He's turning 30, right?
Yeah, he's going to be 30.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends how long you pay him. If it's 3 years, $60 million, I think I can live with that. But I agree with you, though, John. $18 to $20 million is a big commitment, especially when you have a lot of other needs on this roster.
We got till 4:00 for the tags to officially be placed on the players. Which way do you think the Giants are going to go? Or you said 3 out of 4, so I'm assuming you mean they're going to do one, either Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley. There are reasons to lean in both the 2 directions. Saquon's cheaper. The running backs are just cheaper than quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks are more important position. And in the way the salaries are escalating, a franchise tag, non-exclusive franchise tag is not that outrageous and is like $13 million less per season than Daniel Jones has been quoted to be asking for. They're going to slap it on the quarterback or the running back in New York. So
when I did franchise tag candidates for every team, when I did the Giants, I used Saquon because I thought $10 million, not a bad rate for Saquon. He's still amongst the top 5 paid at his position. And I think for 1 year, you can kind of do another wait and see and try to get at least a sort of short/long-term deal done with Jones at 2-3 years. But franchise tagging Jones doesn't seem to be too bad considering he's searching for the moon and the stars here with $45 million a year. So maybe you franchise tag him, just say, hey, you're playing under this. We want to see you play another year, and we'll try to get a deal done with Saquon. It just seems like Saquon right now is easier to get a deal done with than Daniel Jones, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, the franchise tag for running back is not bad, which is why you see Josh Jacobs getting it, Tony Pollard getting it. Maybe the Giants get something done with Daniel Jones and they can franchise Saquon Barkley. That would open up the market for Miles Sanders. I don't know if the market's going to be there for Miles if some of those guys hit it. Luckily for him, it's not. I don't think he's going to come back, but I want to talk to you about that position with the Eagles from a philosophical standpoint. A lot of people talk about Bijan Robinson. We talked about it earlier. Derrick Henry's on the trade market. Eagles fans and big names, Jeff Kerr. Oh, get me Derrick Henry. Did the Eagles need a big-time running back with Jalen Hurts? Do they you're kind of +1 means +1. If you're just going to turn and hand the ball off, you're taking away that +1. Are they more effective with a Kenny Gainwell than going out and getting a big name running back?
What about the kid from Alabama? I'd take him, Jamar Gibbs. I think I would take him if he's around in the second round. I think that'd be worth the investment. But I don't think they need a big-time running back, but they'll run the offense. I mean, if you look at what Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell did, maybe add a Jeff Wilson in there to the mix. And, then you could draft somebody and you kind of have a running back by committee. But you're right, John. When you have Jalen Hurts, I think that kind of cancels everything out. Now, if the Eagles could get Miles Sanders back for, say, $5 million a year, I'd be all for it. But I don't think that's going to be his market because I think Spot Track has him at like $7.5, $8 million, something like that, which I think is fair value for Miles Sanders. I just don't see the Eagles paying it. But to answer your initial question, I don't think they need to just break the bank for a running back. And I don't know if I really want Derrick Henry right now, to be honest with you. It just doesn't seem like the Eagles' philosophy.
No. Why would you want just a power running back? You're taking away the strength of the running game. I don't get it.
Yeah, you'd be changing it. I give Derrick Henry his credit, but
great. I'm not
diminishing Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm not dismissing. It's just not a fit in an RPO offense. It's just not a fit.
Very much agree. All right, Jeff, I need your take on the Eagles coaching staff. There's been changes. Some of the Eagles couldn't control. Guys getting head coaching jobs, more power to them. So you got to replace them, elevate, bring in guys from the outside. What happened with Denard Wilson is causing some consternation. He doesn't get the defense coordinator gig. It's reported that he was okay with staying as the defensive backs coach. And then it came out that he and the organization were parting ways, depending on who you read and who you believe. It was all Eagles' decision, not a mutual parting of ways. This is probably mostly on Nick Sirianni. Again, he hadn't come out and confirmed and said, yeah, this was my call. I decided to move on. I did it for myself, the team, Denard, everybody. It's all on me. Did Sirianni handle this well?
You know what? It doesn't feel like Jonathan Gannon and Denard Wilson are kind of being pinned as scapegoats for the Super Bowl right now. It's almost like, okay, you gave us the number 2 pass defense, but what did you do?
Number one.
Yeah, number 1. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me on that, McMullen.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, okay, they held the Chiefs to yards.
182.
Yeah, 182 in the Super Bowl, but they couldn't get off the field. And maybe they just did not like that philosophy, or maybe it didn't mess with Sean Desai. It's what if Marcus's article said what they basically fired Denard Wilson? Was that basically the story?
By the way, the Eagles, I did text some people. They are sticking with their story as of now. And it was mutual. So it's going to be interesting because at some point Nick's going to have to answer the question.
Well, John, you were at the combine, right? Didn't Sirianni kind of have like some weird body language when it came to being asked about Denard Wilson and whether he was going to stay?
Well, I wasn't there. We took the week off, but he did. It was pretty clear to me. I did watch the press conference. It was pretty clear to me he wasn't coming back. I mean, he gave all the usual great coach, great person, but a lot of uncertainty. Don't know if it's a fit. Don't know if Sean has his own guy that he wants to bring in. So it was pretty evident he wasn't going to be back. I guess the bigger point is Jody brought up, was he fired? Did Denard agree, as Marcus sort of reported that, hey, I want to be back. I'm not going to create waves, and it doesn't. The part that doesn't mesh with me, and I can't get my head around, is doesn't seem like Nick Sirianni to say, "Oh, I don't believe you. I'm just going to fire you." But it could. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Questions got to be answered at some point. Right now, it seems like a he said, from my perspective.
Yeah, that is what it is. There's like two sides every story, and then there's the side in the middle, and you just kind of have to draw your own conclusions from there. But it's just a weird conundrum now. And again, we've seen this happen with this franchise before. Doug Peterson wanting a little bit more power after getting the team.
Always
to a
happens.
Super Bowl.
By the way, now Jeffrey and Howie have nothing to do. I constantly get fans, Jeff, who say, "Well, is Howie doing it or is Nick doing it?" I mean, the Eagles overblow the collaboration standpoint. They trumpet that like it's ridiculous. But why is the assumption that only one person is doing this? Only one person is involved. I mean, Nick Sirianni, basically what happens is Howie and his departments are responsible for getting candidates. And then the head coach interviews them and says, "I want this guy." There's nothing wrong with that philosophy. The bad part is when the coach says, "I want Mike Rowe."
Yeah.
And the owner says, "You can't have Mike Rowe." That's where the problems come in. The Eagles aren't at that point with Nick Sirianni yet. He gets to pick the coaches, but a lot of them he doesn't know until he interviews them. I don't know why it's so difficult for people to understand.
And I like this. Brian Johnson, who we already know is a good coach, it also helps when Jalen Hurts can say, "That's the guy I want." And I'm not saying he would take a hometown discount for getting Brian Johnson, but it's a lot easier for him to like the organization when his guys calling the plays.
And by the way, Brian's another guy who Nick didn't have a relationship with. So the Eagles brought Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni. Nick interviewed Brian Johnson and, hired him. Now that was as a position coach. Now, as he was a position coach and got elevated, I think a lot of that had to do with his relationship with Jalen Hurts. And that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing, because that's how Press Taylor got elevated, because of his relationship with Carson Wentz. It didn't work out in that aspect. Carson didn't necessarily like the tough teachings of John DiFilippo, but it was good for him. And the more, "Hey, you're great, didn't work. I'm not saying Brian's going to be that way. I'm just saying the assumption that, he's known him since he was 4 years old. All right. Shane didn't know him, but Shane was pretty successful, even though he didn't know him at 4 years old.
True. But we do have a history where there is consternation between the coach picking his staff, elevating staff, moving guys on and off his staff, and the powers that be above him as the owner to say, no, that can't happen. You're right. We're not there yet with Sirianni, but this could be the first time there was a little bit of a disagreement. If Nick was the one who said, "Yeah, I got guys on this defense that love the coach, and then we could have a split if Sean isn't right off the bat having success. Do I want those rumblings in the locker room?" I do believe this was a Sirianni decision. All right. I asked this of our guest earlier, so I'm going to ask it of you too, Mr. Kerr. Completely unfair question. What's the time frame of worry for Jalen Hurts' contract? When does an Eagle fan say, why the hell haven't we gotten this done yet? Is it next week, next month, before the draft, after the draft, into camp? When do you say, we've been talking about this for friggin' months now, when are they going to get something done? They got an issue here. They're not seeing on the same page, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. What the hell's happening? When do you go officially into worry mode on the Jalen Hurts not done contract?
It wouldn't be worry mode, but when Joe Burrow gets his contract, when Lamar Jackson gets his contract, which is coming soon, by the way, when Justin Herbert gets his contract, when all these guys are getting paid upwards of $50 million, and then you're like, okay, Jalen's done as much or as more than these guys already. So what's his salary? $55 million a year? Is it $60 million a year? I know people think that's crazy right now, but you got Daniel freaking Jones, $45 million a year. That might happen. So it's crazy to think. I mean, wait till Lamar gets the non-exclusive tag later today, and some team just goes, you know what? We'll give you what you're worth. Baltimore may not think you're worth this, but we'll give you, and we'll see if Baltimore caves or not. And then you're just going to see Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert licking their chops, and Jalen's going to be licking his chops.
What helps the Eagles there, Jeff, is Joe Burrow plays for Cincinnati and Justin Herbert plays for the Chargers. So I do think, like, Howie wants to get it done before those guys, no question. He can drag his feet a little bit because those teams drag their feet consistently. If there were another team that is going to get it done, he might have more of a sense of urgency. That's kind of the feeling I get.
I just can't believe how much Baltimore's dragged their feet with Lamar.
I don't think they have. I just think Lamar's in the I want Deshaun Watson. I want fully guaranteed.
Which is asinine guaranteed. If you think about it, because who gives a guy $230 million guaranteed?
The Browns. That's what Lamar is asking for.
That's what Lamar's asking for. So I can't, Baltimore, I think, would have gotten a deal done, but they're not giving him a fully guaranteed deal. That, to me, is the sticking point. And I can't argue Baltimore's standpoint. Cleveland, that's why everybody hates Cleveland in the league. I mean, they hate that contract. They hate it.
And it's a precedent.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. You mentioned it earlier. Lamar going to get the non-exclusive franchise tag probably today, 30 and change, not anywhere near what he's worth. He's not going to be happy about it. He goes out and sells himself to someone in the NFL. Is there another team that will go, yeah, we'll do what the Browns did. We'll guarantee every dollar. It should be in the market of the Kyler Murray contract, $230 for $5 million. He got about 70% guaranteed. Yeah, you're better than that. You got an MVP, Lamar. We'll give you it all guaranteed. Basically the same contract with Deshaun Watson. Any team in the league going to do that?
There might be a team in New York that you like, Jody, that could be desperate enough now that they struck out on Derek Carr, and there's no guarantee Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what he's going to do. So the Jets would say, you know what? We'll talk to you. We'll get you interested in us, and we'll give you what you need because we feel like we're on the precipice of doing something great. And if Lamar wants to stay in the AFC, awesome. But there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and I think there are teams that got the money that can pay Lamar.
Yeah. And that's always an ownership thing, Jody, because I guarantee we were talking about Andrew Berry before. I guarantee Andrew Berry isn't giving Deshaun Watson that contract. That's where the owner steps in and says, we got to do this. And that's the only guy making that type of decision.
Although I may be a fan, my faith in Woody Johnson, not real great. So I'm not sure that happens with the Jets, which will make it interesting how long this plays out, how much he will negotiate with other teams if he gets the tag that we expect him to get this afternoon. All right. You had your eyes on the combine all weekend as well. What jumped off the page for you player-wise, position-wise, filling potential needs, voids for the Eagles? No, we got to go through free agency first before we get to the draft, but were there some guys that you thought, that guy would look good in Eagle Green come Sunday afternoons in the fall?
So the irony was the only day I really had to focus on the combine was Sunday, which was ironically the running backs in kind of a position the Eagles needed. I'm like in the Dan Campbell camp. I'm not crazy about watching guys in pajamas, but I liked him when he played at Illinois, Chase Brown, and I thought he had a pretty strong combine. I like Chase Brown a lot. I thought he'd be a nice kind of mid-round pick if the Eagles were to go that route. But the Eagles don't have a 4th, 5th, or 6th right now, so that kind of cancels everything out. I did like Jahmyr Gibbs. I thought he had a good combine. Bijan Robinson. Again, McMullen, you would know this. What is Bijan Robinson backup at Texas' name?
Rochelle Johnson, I think.
Yeah, Rochelle Johnson. Yeah, I thought he was good last year when I watched him. I'm like, okay, that ain't Bijan Robinson. That guy ain't bad either. So
yeah, he is good. He is good.
There is a guy I kind of
Roseman, by the way. It's Roseman.
Is it Roseman? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a guy that I really like at 10. I think he's going to get picked a little later than 10. So the Eagles will probably have to trade back. I'm still a big Paris Johnson fan from Ohio State. I love his game. I know he's an offensive tackle, but Lane Johnson ain't going to be around forever, and the Eagles always think ahead of this.
Oh, they do, man.
And it's not a sexy pick, but, man, you could plug him in right away at right tackle if you needed to.
Offensive line, defensive line.
Yeah, they got a guy right tackle who's okay. Yeah, that Lane Johnson guy's okay. I hear what you're saying. That's the Eagles' modus operandi. Trenches, trenches, trenches. Yeah, I don't think they're taking an offensive lineman with the 10th pick. Maybe that's wishful thinking on my part because I'm hoping he falls down at 13 to the Jets because that's what I want to see them take. They need to put more attention and pick winners on the offensive line. This Eagle coaching staff with the major changes and the like, Sirianni talking about, since the day he was hired, talked about connection. Is there any fissures in the coaching room this year with the changes they've been forced to make? Hey, they couldn't control it, but and to how Sirianni has handled it, will there be a disconnect between he and his coaching staff this year, even though it seems like he's getting to decide exactly who he wants?
I don't think so. I think the whole Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson relationship is pretty good. I mean, they've been together for 2 years. And again, if the quarterback's happy with it, why not? Now, Alex Tanney's being promoted. I think that's another good promotion for them as well. I know not having Shane Steichen there is going to hurt this team a little bit, but I like Johnson's potential. I'm excited to see what he does as a play caller. And it looks like on the defensive side of the ball, it's Sean Desai is running the show. It's like, okay, we got this guy in. You pick who you want to pick. I'm curious to see what happens if Matt Patricia actually does become a member of the Eagles coaching staff.
What do you think of that?
Boy, that doesn't make sense at all to me.
It doesn't. And there's a certain guy on this franchise that it's not. And everybody says this is a Slay thing. I'm like, well, yeah, true, but Diggs don't like him either in Seattle. So
no.
It's more than Darius Slay here.
I go back. You know what I was thinking about, Jeff? Remember when Jim Schwartz was trying to compliment DK Metcalf, and DK took it the opposite way?
Yeah.
He said, basically, you're the closest thing
to
I've
Randy
ever
Moss,
seen to
wasn't
Calvin
it?
Johnson.
Oh, Calvin Johnson. That's what it was.
And you're not there yet, but you're the closest thing, which is a compliment.
Because
Calvin Johnson and DK is probably doesn't know who Calvin Johnson is, to be honest. I think a lot of people don't realize that players don't, a lot of players don't have the same affinity for history that people that follow the game. He's like, what are you talking about? Why are you disrespecting me? I think maybe that's what happened with Slay and Patricia, but I don't know. Because he was working out with Richard Sherman and somebody else, and Patricia said, "You're not there yet." But I think it was more of a Schwartz thing. Like, you're really good, but you got to keep working to get to that level. And what's a compliment turns into a slight. I think that's maybe what happened. I think, but I wasn't there.
Here's the question I have for both you guys. We're talking about Matt Patricia coming in being the linebacker coach. If you can take away and pretend it didn't happen, his head coaching experience is going to be tough to do with Slay in the room. And his ineptitude at calling plays last year for the New England Patriots, and just put that to the side and just judge him as a defensive coach, most specifically a linebacker coach. Is he that good that the Eagles would rock the boat to bring him in? Do you look at Matt Patricia as that kind of a defensive coach? Either one of you guys?
Nick Foles put up 41 on them in the Super Bowl, so I don't think too much of Matt Patricia to begin with. And if you're going to tick off the one quarterback who is under contract right now, I don't think that's the best idea unless you're trying to find any excuse in the book to trade him and get rid of that contract and kind of move on from Darius Slay because he's 32. But I don't know why you would want to put your hand in the beehive right now. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Especially with the Denard Wilson stuff now coming out. or, it's something to keep an eye on.
I will say this though. Slade did say on, I think it was his podcast. I know he said about Desai that, he's willing to make him, as comfortable as he needs to be here as one of the leaders of the team. And, I like that. But man, Matt Patricia's there without Denard Wilson. I don't know. I think this came out before the whole Denard Wilson news was official too.
All right. At Jeff Kerr CBS, follow Jeff on Twitter. Last one from me, Jeff. I'm going to give you two. And I'm not going to put Jason Kelce in there because everybody's going to pick Jason Kelce, but that hinges on retirement. So 2 Eagles free agents are coming back. It could be Brandon Graham, CJ, Bradbury, TJ, Isaac, Fletcher, Miles, Javon. A lot of names.
Boston
you only
Scott?
get 2.
Keep
You only get 2. Now, Boston's not big enough.
Okay.
God bless them. But you only get 2 of those high-profile guys. Who you bringing back?
If I'm playing with an uncapped salary cap here, it would obviously be James Bradbury and Javon Hargrave. But we are playing with salary cap. So I would love to see Javon Hargrave back. Man, this is tough. They can part ways with Sam Malo. They can part ways with Sanders. This is a tougher question because I probably would have said Kelce, to be honest. But
Yeah. Everybody.
But Javon Hargrave be my no-brainer. You know what? How about Marcus Epps?
Marcus Epsy. All right.
They
value.
They kind of need, they need some value. They can still draft a safety.
They got Reed Blankenship. Don't forget.
Yeah, and I'm hearing though Marcus Epps may have a nice little market coming up. So we'll see.
Write it down. Zach Pascal back with the Eagles. That one is going to happen.
Is he too big enough though? Because I was a Boston
he's
Scott.
not big enough. Zach's not big. Yeah, Zach might be back on a 1-year veteran minimum deal.
Listen to the coach talk about him. He'll tell you he's big enough. That'll be a key re-addition to the Eagles when they get Zach Pascal's name back on a contract.
I hope Zach's all right. He got robbed.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you what, though. I would like C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. I'm just not sure what his market is actually going to be. Maybe that's what.
Man. Neither am I.
McMullen said that earlier.
Yeah. I think people would think he's going to be the highest paid safety. No way. Personality's too big. He's out there throwing coaches under the bus. His agent's probably contacting him. Yo, slow down. I think the Eagles, that might have helped the Eagles.
I really don't want putting the tag on them, and I don't think they need to put the tag on, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, we'll see if they get it done. If they don't, if he goes elsewhere, we'll find out at 4:00, as Johnny Mac says. Jeff Kerr, always a pleasure, buddy. Appreciate you jumping in. We'll get you back up in a couple of weeks when free agency gets underway.
Sounds great, Joey. By the way, I just hope they don't tag a player like an LJ Smith just because the quarterback likes him.
Who would that be?
Well, you remember McNabb?
On a bat for
remember McNabb wanted them to tag LJ Smith because he liked them.
I get your point, but then you got to have somebody on the Eagles right now. Jalen Hurts is going to go, yeah, we got to keep this guy. Make it a priority. I know
Boston Scott.
Is Zach, are you with me? Is it
Zach Pascal? Yeah.
Zach? Is it going to be that big?
No.
I didn't think so either. Jeff Kerr, always a pleasure. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
JK here with us on Birds 365. Appreciate Mr. Kerr. All right, McMullen and McDonald coming back. You know what we got to do right here, right now. We're going to put a bow on the show.